Hi everyone, welcome back to Donica and Shelby Reads. My name is Shelby, and today I'm going to talk about 10 of my anticipated reads for 2021. This is going to be January through March, all of the books that I'm excited for, all of the ones that I found, and I'm super excited to talk about them today. So, y'all don't know this, but this is my second time filming this. I actually filmed this last night. I had a candle in the background, I had some tea, I was going for a cozy vibe, and it was nighttime, and I was like, okay, after I film this, I'll head to bed, and I'll just do this to kind of wind down. And then my last book that I'm going to talk about today really scared me. It scared me so much I had to stop filming. Part of me is anticipating it, and the other part of me is scared for my life. I don't want to read it. I'm scared. Like, I read the description and I literally got scared. And also, I forgot a book yesterday. So there was just a couple things that went wrong. So we're filming it again today. It's bright. Completely different vibe than it was last night, and I'm ready to talk about some of these thrilling books with y'all. So the very first book that I'm going to talk about chronologically comes out January 5th, and it's called The Push by Ashley Audrain. Essentially, there is a mother who maybe didn't get the love and the care that she wanted, or the warmth from her mom. So she's determined to be that mom, and she is so excited for motherhood, and she is just ready for it. And then her little girl is born. In like the first few days, she's like very exhausted. She has this little baby. She feels like something's wrong with this baby. Like, I don't know if she means like behaviorally or the baby seems ill or something, but her husband is like, okay, no, that's like all in your head. Like, you're just being whatever. Like, for whatever reason, he doesn't believe her. So life goes on, and then the mother has a little baby boy, and all is going well until one day something happens. That's just what I've gathered. Something happens, and it just shakes their life. What happens when a woman is not believed? So just all of that coming together made me super excited. It's one of my book of the month picks for January, so it's coming in my box. It should be here any day now. It could be in the mail today, literally. I got this book as my add-on for the month, so I am super excited to read it, and it'll be here soon. I'm super happy. My next book, called Shiver by Allie Reynolds, is slated to come out on January the 19th, and this is like a mystery thriller, and I think its genre is called like locked room genre, which I need to tell Donica about this because I think she likes that genre. I really think she liked this book, so if you're watching, Donica, you should check this book out. Well, I'm going to tell you about it, so here we go. So the main character's name is Mila, I believe, and she gets a trip to the French Alps somehow. I don't know if she pays for it, or if she stumbled across it, or if she got it offered to her, but she's having a reunion with these other snowboarders. They were like an elite group of snowboarders, so they're gonna have a reunion, and it's gonna be an awesome vacation in the French Alps. So once the group gets there, the cable car that they came in on actually stops working. Just weird things start happening, and they realize that they think they've been set up, and next thing you know, they find like a clue on the table. So you know that if you go somewhere and all of a sudden you find a clue, you know you messed up. Like, somewhere along the way, if you get locked in a room and there's a clue, like something went wrong. That's essentially like where this story is going. Along the way, they kind of start remembering, oh yeah, there was one of the people in our group, our snowboarding group, she like passed away the day before the competition. Maybe this person who's setting them up and putting them through these clues is trying to tell them something about who killed her, and maybe it's one of them. Or I just thought that would be a really cool book to read, and that comes out January the 19th. Okay, my third book is a mystery all on its own. Okay, so when y'all comment, I typically go to y'all's channels and just watch a few of y'all's videos just to see like, who's this, who's that, and it's really cool to just see what kind of books y'all are into. And also, I watched some 2021 anticipated reads just like in anticipation of this video, like what are other people wanting to read. I do not know who mentioned this book, and I looked through my YouTube search history, I looked through my Google search history, watched all the videos that I watched, and I can't find who mentioned this book, but it was like I think it was like the first book that they mentioned, and I don't know who it was. It's called Girl A by Abigail Dean, and I don't know how I heard about this book, but so there is like a dysfunctional family that I think it's two abusive parents, and then their children who live in this place that the media later calls House of Horrors because of everything that the children went through living in that house. The first girl to escape was called Girl A, and that's just what the media called her, so that's the title of the book. Later in her life, when her mother dies in prison, her and her siblings get this house, the House of Horrors, that put them through so much trauma and so much turmoil in their childhood. And Girl A, whose name is Lex Gracie wants to turn the house into something good. They had all these negative experiences in that house, and she wants to turn it into something for the better. But in order to do that, they have to go through the process of reconciling with everything that happened in their childhood. So I'm guessing that this is just kind of the siblings banding together, figuring out more about, you know, what happened to them, that shared experience, and just unraveling all of that as they try to come to terms with it and then move forward. CJ Tudor is coming out with a new book called The Burning Girls, and it made my list, and it is coming out on January the 21st. So this sounds pretty cool. Maybe paranormal, maybe not, maybe just culty, I don't know. I actually have like 2 culty books, I think, in my anticipated reads for the next 3 months. So essentially, from what I'm getting, a pastor and his daughter kind of want to have a new, fresh start, and so they move to this town called Chapel Croft. Once they get there, the community is like very closed off, very reserved. Well, their history is really crazy. It had been like 500 years before that. It said 8 martyrs were burned to death, and then like 50 years before, I believe 2 teenage girls went missing. I think it said 2 months before, the pastor at Chapel Croft killed himself. He committed suicide, which is enough already. But then I think, like, I don't know if like paranormal things start happening to the pastor and his daughter, but just something is tipping them off that things aren't quite right. And I think his daughter starts to get like visions of burning girls, and thus the title, I'm guessing. So it's time for them to figure out what's going on with the history, and just, I mean, that alone, all that description sounds super interesting, and I'm very excited for that one to come out. Book number 5 is kind of the shining beacon in my list of thrillers. It is the sequel to Woven in Moonlight by Isabel Ibañez, which was an amazing fantasy book that me and Donica read last year. Go check out that video if you'd like to hear about it, if you're interested in reading it. In this synopsis of this sequel, which is called Written in Starlight, the synopsis kind of gives away kind of what happens at the end of the first book, but just to, I mean, you could go look at the synopsis yourself, but just to kind of try to keep it a little bit less spoilery, one of the characters from the first book, like, has to go into the forest at the end of the first book. This second book is all about what she has to go through to survive in the forest. She's trying to find an ancient civilization like in the forest, and she's going to try to team up with them, and then I think she meets like a kind stranger or an ally in the forest, and we just get to see, and on top of all of that, she's like a seer and she can read the stars, but she's not very good at it yet, but I think she's trying to hone her skills. So all of that combined, I just think this is going to be a great story. I really wanted a sequel to the book. This isn't exactly a direct sequel of the characters that we followed in the first book. It's more of like what happens to one of the characters, and it's kind of like a built branch off, but I would love to read more in this world, so I'm super, super excited for that. So the 6th book that I'm going to read is actually another book of the month. It was my book of the month pick for January, and it's called The Survivors. The Survivors by Jane Harper is slated to come out February 2nd. But since Book of the Month constantly has early releases of like some of the best books of the upcoming months, I'm super excited that I chose this one. So essentially in The Survivors, a young couple and their child go back to revisit the husband's like childhood home, I'm guessing, on the coast. Oh, they're not married. It's Kieran, his girlfriend Mia, and their baby. And Kieran is just very haunted by something that happened in that town. He's trying to come to terms with it, and then all of a sudden while they're there, like a body washes up on the shore, and it just brings back a flood of bad memories for Kieran, I guess whatever he went through, and the murderer of this girl is still at large, so there are so many things to worry about, and that's as much as I know, but it sounds pretty thrilling already, and I think there's also like an element of like whodunit in there, of course. So I'm very excited to read that, and like I said, my 2 book of the month should be here at any time, and I'm super excited for both of those. Book number 7 is called The Project by Courtney Summers, and this one is slated also to come out February the 2nd, and this is my other kind of culty book. Well, it's centered around a cult. So we're following 2 sisters, Lo and B. B got very involved with this organization called the Unity Project in upstate New York, and everybody is just like super big fan of the Unity Project and the work that they do. They're like supposed to be charitable, but their members are just a little too enthusiastic, and Lo sees that, and B kind of just drops her for the Unity Project and is like, I'm gonna get super into this, and Lo is like, yeah, this is cultish, but she can never prove it. Well, one day she's at the magazine that she works for, and a man comes in and gives them a tip that the Unity Project killed his son. Yeah, so Lo is like, okay, this is my chance. I guess she endures in this project of going and checking out the Unity Project and seeing what's going on in that place. And along the way, she has to come face to face with the Unity Project, like founder or the head of the Unity Project. And we get to see what happens next. It says that it makes her question everything she knew, and it like shakes her world, and she doesn't know what's real and what's fake. So I think that'll be very interesting. My 8th book is called Quiet in Her Bones by Nalini Singh. So we're actually following the son of a mother named Nina, and she actually had disappeared 10 years previously and took like $250,000 with her, and yeah, abandoned her family, abandoned her son and her wealthy husband, and everybody just kind of was like, yeah, that girl just ran off with the money. That's just who she was. And of course, I'm sure that traumatized her son, who we are following in this book, named Audrain. Well, all of a sudden, in the forest of their super elite neighborhood, her body turns up, wearing the same clothes that she wore the day she supposedly ran off. And her son Audrain remembers hearing a scream the night that she supposedly ran off, and now he is determined to figure out what happened that night. So I think that this book is gonna be just like the dynamics of like elite neighborhood life and like super rich people, but also a murder mystery, and I think it's gonna be very interesting to read, and I'm super excited for that. So number 9 is called The Lost Village, and this was also one of Donica's anticipated reads, and I think I had like seen the title on a list or something of cool books coming out in 2021, and I didn't really look into it more, but then when I heard it in Donica's video, I was like, okay, yeah, I really want to read this. It's called The Lost Village by Camilla Sten, and it's supposed to come out February 23rd, and essentially, like a documentary filmmaker, I guess, and their crew is going to check out this village where her grandmother and her entire family disappeared, along with all of the residents of the village. And so now they're back to make a documentary about it, this ghost town where no one is inhibiting. Well, once they get there, their equipment starts like getting destroyed, things start moving, like they know they're not alone. I don't know what more to say. That just sounds super interesting, and I cannot wait to read it. Now guys, we're moving on to the number 10 that I mentioned at the beginning of this video that made me so scared that I had to stop filming last night. I am in much better spirits. It's like super bright and I'm not scared. Oh, another thing about this book is that I created this list before I really deeply checked the dates that things were coming out. So please forgive me, it falls outside the boundaries, but it's just that first week in April. It's April 6th. So it's right there, right on the cusp, right after March. I wanted to round this video out with my perfect little box of 10, so that's why this one's going in. The main character, Bree Cabot, came from a very poor family, and now she's married into just a very wealthy family, and she's doing very well for herself, and her life is, it feels absolutely perfect until one day she sees what she's presuming a witch looking through her window with gray hair. She's just peering in the window. And it was at this point that I stopped filming because I scared myself by saying that in the last video. And then all of a sudden she sees a woman peering through her window. Anyways, let's continue on. She sees this woman looking through her window, and she is like, what was that? And then the woman's gone without a trace. So she kind of just chalks it up to I must just be exhausted. I'm just gonna pretend that didn't just happen. Well, then one day she's in the car with her baby, and she looks back and her baby is gone. Just disappeared. Her baby is gone. That enough, I was almost like, I don't want to read this. That's sad. Where's the baby? But then she gets a clue. So Bree only has to do one small critical task, and then she can get her baby back, and she's gonna do anything to get her child back. So she does the task and accidentally entraps herself into an entire mess of something that she did not know she was going to get herself into just by doing one simple thing. So now we're going to see where this goes. I don't know for sure if I'm going to read this. I might wait until more reviews come out because I am very nervous. I might literally just Google does the baby get found? That's all I want to know. I know this is not this is fiction, but I feel like I'm only going to want to read it if this poor baby has a happy ending. But guys, that's all 10 of my books. It's been so fun talking to y'all about what I want to read. I'm very interested in what y'all are going to read. If y'all want to know what Donica's going to read, go and check out her video. She definitely is more in the fantasy realm. I think she has lots of great fantastical reads. So if y'all are interested in that, go check her video out. It was posted right before this one. Let me know what y'all are anticipating in 2021. I'm super excited to start reading, and I think I have some good thrillers on the list. So I'll let y'all know how that pans out, and I hope that y'all have a great rest of y'all's day. If you're watching this in the morning, afternoon, have a great night if y'all are about to go to sleep. If you like this video and you like videos like this, please please leave a like. And if you want to see more from me and my sister, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, and I'll talk to y'all all later. Bye.